Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Chapstick, okay. This is Fame with Tiffany Renee. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. This is this is a safe space for everyone. Just a few housekeeping rules though. I do not tolerate anything of a disrespectful nature. Feel free to leave comments, talk to each other, all those wonderful things, but be mindful if your comments are hateful or sarcastic or trying to insult me or anyone else in the community, then your comment will be removed and it'll be blocked. This is not a space for that. There's so many places out there in internet world where you can be rude and mean and disrespectful. Go to those platforms if that's the type of energy you're carrying, but don't bring that energy over here. So just throwing that out there. So as you can see, I'm outside. I'm at the library. It is a gorgeous day. It is super sunny, but I sat over in this area out here before I actually go inside because I wanted to film this video. So yes, it is bright, it is sunny. You're going to see all the glistenings. I mean, yes, come on, skin glow, good old Vaseline, okay? And I just wanted to drop a word on you all today. It's not going to be a long video. My Concert Goers Guide to Manifestation course is available. The sale ended today, so it's not $79 anymore, it's $99. But for the next 5 days, you can make weekly payments of only $24.75. $24.75. I mean, or $99. You're more than welcome to pay it in full. But $99 is less than the price that Ticketmaster charges you just to buy the ticket. Like the ticket fee itself is like over $100 for some of these tickets. Okay, so I'm just saying, my course is cheaper than tickets, which is why I created it, so that you can manifest your tickets, manifest discounts, manifest the opportunity to get the ticket. Or, you know, if you have the money, but the tickets are looking like they're sold out, well, here's your opportunity to call forth a version of you on a timeline where you already have your ticket, where it's not sold out. Sold out means nothing, right? So I will click that link in the description box below. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about is I was getting ready this afternoon, and I was combing my hair and everything, and I was listening to this young lady who I subscribe to. Her name is Ayanda Stood, and she's from South Africa, and she's so articulate. I love the way she expresses herself and shares her point of view on her podcast, and she always comes with very unique perspectives in terms of the connection to ourselves and to humanity and to the world at large. She talked about something today where it was about being afraid of making mistakes. Okay, being afraid of making mistakes. And what I was moved by it. Okay, I was definitely moved by that particular podcast because she said something along the lines of, this stems from your childhood where you weren't allowed to make mistakes, or you were punished if you made a mistake. If you broke a glass, you know, you were punished. If you maybe failed a test or something and you were punished. Like, there was this expectation that if you messed up, you were going to be punished for it. You were not given any grace, right? And so she was saying that is what caused what causes people to grow up being afraid of making mistakes, and they start to shrink themselves for fear of failing or messing up, and just saying the wrong thing, or unintentionally saying something insensitive, or hurting somebody completely unintentionally, but there's a fear of that. Oh my gosh, what if I say something wrong? What if I say something that's offensive and I don't know that it's offensive? What if I make a faux pas, or whatever, a societal faux pas, all those type of things. And when she mentioned the childhood part, like, it had my brain going, because as I mentioned before in other videos, I had a very, very challenging childhood, very difficult upbringing, and very traumatic in so many ways. And one of the things was, I was not allowed to make mistakes. I wasn't. I was not allowed to make mistakes at all. And if we did mess up, there was a consequence, and it was severe punishment. I remember, I would be ridiculed mercilessly. We would have these like 2 and 3 hour long lectures where we had to listen to ourselves being berated and just tore down, and the most horrific things that a caregiver could ever say to their children were being said for like 2 and 3 hours at a time, and we just had to stand there and take it. There was like severe beatings, severe punishment, isolation, like just so many horrible things that happened. Sorry, there's people outside. But so it got me afraid to make mistakes, because my upbringing taught me that if you fail a test, like I mentioned this before, one of the worst beatings I ever got was because I failed my math homework. And so that taught me it right in that moment. You are not allowed to fail under any circumstances. You either do it the first time and get it right. We used to be told that all the time. If you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it again. Do it right the first time. Do it right the first time. Do it right the first time. And then that puts pressure on you of like, okay, what is doing it right? Especially if there's nobody in your world kind of showing you or dictating to you what is the right way. Or what if there's multiple right ways? How do you know which one of these multiple right ways is the right way? And that goes along even with the manifestation community. Look at the number of techniques that are out there, different people saying, myself included, saying like, do these things because they work. But one thing I've never ever said, nor have I ever subscribed to, was this idea that there's only one way to manifest. I thought that early in my journey, but I now recognize that there is not one way to do anything. There's multiple ways for you to get into alignment with what you want and call it in to your reality. Really, the only thing we have to do is just start from I am. I am the thing. Declare it. I am the thing. And I am now experiencing it. I am now the version of me who is. I am. I am is everything. That's really the ultimate power right there. But anything that we want to do in conjunction with that, scripting, affirmations, visualizations, all of that, as Tom Karen said, it's subject to, it's subservient to the I am. So it's I am first, and everything else comes after that, right? But when you grow up very much being told, and I mean starting from like 8 years old or so, between 6 and 8, but heavily 8, 9 years old, all the way up to when I was like 20, or even really, I would say even 24, all the way through the end of college, I definitely felt the effects of this idea, you're not allowed to fail. And because my focus was so much on not being allowed to fail, that was where my attention was going. I was more, I was paying attention, what I talked about in my last video about how we're purchasing the experience when we pay attention to it. I was paying attention to not failing. I was focused so much on let me not mess up, let me not do this wrong, let me not fail, let me get it right the first time, to where I just I experienced more circumstances of me needing to be in a position where failure was an option for me. You know what I mean? I hope I'm explaining that right. It's like I was saying, like, pretty much, please don't let me fail so much that I would end up failing. Please don't let me mess up so much to where I would end up messing up. And so, like, the universe had no choice but to give me what I was focusing on, because while I was saying, I don't want to fail, I don't want to mess up, I don't want this to not succeed, my focus was on failing, not working, not succeeding. Do you see what I'm saying? And the light bulb went off for me today when I listened to her podcast, because I recognize that I still do that. That a large part of my life, that I still find myself operating from that place. Choices that I make, it comes from a place of, oh my gosh, let me do this, but hope that, I don't fail at it. Or sometimes I'll procrastinate trying something or doing something for fear of failure. Now, not all the time, because I'm a Sagittarius and we are risk takers, right? And so I take risks, trust me. But there's definitely been times where I held myself back, or do hold myself back, I'll be honest, for fear of not getting it right. There were times when I keep trying different techniques, or I'll pick a technique, or even the I am awareness. I find myself thinking, am I amming correctly? Am I doing the I am awareness right? It's like, there's nothing to do right. You are it, right? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, Tiffany, you are I am. There's nothing to do to be I am, because you are it. You are the thing, because you are all things. You are part of infinite consciousness. You are all things. You're just choosing your reality. But there's still this program that pops up, which I'm going to clean up and stop affirming, but I'm aware of it now. That is like, what is that about? What is that? And I notice, okay, I'm going to tell you what that is. It's you still being afraid of messing up and doing it wrong, because that narrative is creating patterns, and those patterns are creating circumstances, and those circumstances are just giving me back evidence of what the narrative is already saying. I don't speak my mind often for fear of being canceled or being called out. I kind of stay away from hot button topics. I might talk to one or two people in person about it, but I don't post anything anything that's real controversial. Sometimes there's stuff like that. And if I do, I tread very lightly, for fear of not being liked, fear of being of getting it wrong, fear of offending somebody. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I don't feel like I should be doing that anymore. I'm 42 years old. I feel like I should not care what anybody thinks about me and my opinions and my perspectives, because we're all entitled to have it, right? We're entitled to it. You can agree or disagree, bless. That's totally fine. But I shouldn't be afraid of my stance or my opinion out of fear that I'm going to get it wrong. Sometimes you get backlash, but that backlash isn't about you. It's about the way it's received by others. It's about how it triggers other people, and then they start projecting onto you. That's kind of what the backlash is. I heard this quote years ago. I cannot remember who said it, but this person said that you can never be offended without giving permission. Like, you need to give permission to be offended. So it's up to you to be offended by something. It's not up to the other person. It's up to you. People can say what they say, but it's in your power to decide whether or not you are going to be offended. Are you going to choose to be offended by this thing and react in a way that you would respond to something that's offended you? And not saying that you're not allowed to be offended. You totally can. But how are you going to react to that? Well, how are you going to respond, or are you going to react? And I think many times humans tend to be more reactionary than sitting for a second and responding. And, taking that few moments of stillness and thinking before you respond, practicing that mindfulness. But I say all that because, yeah, let's not fear being wrong. Let's not be held hostage by our mistakes anymore, because we're allowed to mess up, which was the point of Ayanda Stood's video. We're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to not get it on the first try. You know what I mean? Even in circumstances like with maybe kind of like my family dynamic, because I carry this narrative of I can't get it wrong, I can't fail. My reality reflects back to me how I would be considered the failure of the family. Do you see what I mean? Because of certain choices I make that goes against the grain, that's not part of the status quo. And then I get looked at and judged and condemned from a place of, you're doing life wrong. You're failing at life, right? And obviously they're projecting that back to me. They're reflecting it back to me, because that's internally how I feel about myself, because of this narrative that is running. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You're not allowed to fail. And if you do, it's like the end of the world. And so I get reflected back to me circumstances and people in my life that are almost like waiting for me to fail so they can say something, so I can be punished and judged and condemned for it, because that's what the trauma's used to. That's what, do you see what I mean? I hope this video is making sense. I feel like it's I don't know, I feel like my communication has been kind of all over the place the last couple of days. Could be everything that's going on in the cosmos and the planetary alignments and stuff, but I hope this video made sense. I didn't mean for it to be 20 minutes long, but just think about that. Just think about it. Ask yourself, do you feel safe to mess up? That's kind of one of the prompts that Ayanda Stood asked. I think her exact words were, like, do I feel like safe in my body to make mistakes, or something like that. So, like, ask yourself those questions. Do I feel safe to mess up? Is it safe for me to make a mistake? Like, do I feel like it's safe for me to make a mistake? And explore the answer, because the answer is yes, it's okay for you to make mistakes. We all err. We all make mistakes. That's part of the human experience. Or are you hard on yourself, like I've been? Are you extra critical of yourself, like I've been? And, yeah, one thing that I understood said is, I think someone told her this, but when you make a mistake, that's like an opportunity to love yourself even more. And it's like, are you loving yourself through your mistakes? Are you loving yourself through what you consider a failure? If I'm being honest, I have not been doing that. And I'm going to start doing that. So do it with me if, you feel called to. Let's love ourselves through our errors, love ourselves through our mistakes, and show compassion and grace for things that we didn't know that we now grew through and evolved, and maybe would have made different choices back then. But remember, you made the choices that you made based on the circumstances at the time and based on who you were at the time. We're all probably different people now than we were 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. So let's give ourselves some grace and shower ourselves with love. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you all so much. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.